Atomic gigantification was a sweeping Japan nation when along came a dude with an ultra attitude, a common rider who's the greatest kicker of Japan. And of all, man, life's too short now, baby, to not talk big now, baby.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Kaiju Conversation Live. I'm your host, Elijah, and I have found a way to make StreamYard work, everybody. This is a momentous episode. Episode 16. Took 16 of these plus a couple bonuses to get to a point where I found out how to make this work proper. It's great to see everybody as people flood in. We'll say hello to everybody, but for this episode, I've got a very special guest. This is a person who I met at G-Fest, probably my favorite person I met at G-Fest. No offense to anybody else. Favorite person. I had so much fun working with him and getting to chill and chat with him. He is a podcaster. He is a member of Kaiju United. He is a man, a myth, a legend. Mr. David Scrivani from Talking Toku. How are you?
Hey, that's me. Hello. I'm good, Elijah. How's it going?
I'm honestly pretty good now that my StreamYard plan worked.
That's good. What were you using before StreamYard?
So we've always used StreamYard, but it's weird. So typically when I start, I think it has something to do with the Apple processor. I just freeze. Like the whole thing just freezes. And like I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, and I can't really stream. It just doesn't work. So we tried a second device to actually do all of that, and then I came in after the fact and it worked. So maybe that's what I got to do.
Maybe I'm just good luck. Maybe you just need to have me on for every episode, and then you will never, ever have any technical difficulties ever again.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. Speaking of which, we have Kaiju United in the chat. We love David.
We love Kaiju United.
We love Kaiju United. That is true. So, David, you and I have never spoke before. I knew of you, but I didn't know you.
Yeah, that sounds really like morbid. Like I knew of you. Sounds very ominous, but let's go on. Continue.
Until about a month ago. And for the last 4 weeks, I feel like I've talked to you more than I've talked to most people in my life.
I feel that, yeah. It's the same. Like I had heard the name Elijah Thomas quite a bit recently, and now we're like best friends. We're brothers.
We're united.
Oh, very nice.
We're united because of our kaiju.
Let's see how many times we can shout out Kaiju United on this episode. Should we start taking a tally?
It's a drinking game. Somebody out there.
I'm already drinking. I got a beer here. I should have asked, can I drink on this show? Or are you going to get demonetized for this?
I don't think so. I don't think I get paid.
Okay, fair enough.
So, okay. Now, I'm sure you... actually, I don't know why you would have heard of me. That's a little scary, but...
I've heard the stories, Elijah.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Which one? Oh, God.
All of them.
Oh, no. So, I have heard of you because of your podcast, Talkin Toku. What's that? What? Give me a rundown of what that is.
Well, it's the only podcast where we talk about sci-fi monsters and dinosaur adventures. That's my little intro when we do the show. But Talking Toku, and I've mentioned this multiple times on various other interviews, but Talking Toku was initially a school assignment, if you could believe that. I had to do it I had to pitch a podcast for my college internship. And it was Talking Toku, and now here we are. We're on episode 75. We just dropped episode 75 today, And now here I am on your show, Kaiju Conversation. So it's all, we're getting there. We're getting to the big leagues.
So, Kaiju Conversation, we just did episode 99 of our main show. So it took us 5 years to get to that. How long has it taken you to get to 75?
Oh, this is I want to say this is year 3.
Okay.
We're on year. We just did year 3. Would have been back in March, I think. It would have been our 3rd year anniversary. If my math is correct on that. I'd have to go back and listen to our episode with Donnie Winter because we talked about it on that episode. But I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure this is year 3 though. Okay.
It's weird, right? Because like when you're like, oh yeah, we've been doing this for X amount of episodes, but eventually it's like I don't remember how long.
It's a blur, dude. Like you just stop thinking about the time and it's just like, oh, I guess we're on episode 75 now. How did we get here?
100 for us just kind of crept up. Like we were like, oh, welcome back. We're a new episode. And suddenly it was like, oh, wait, we're on episode 95. Wait a minute.
Well, here's the question, though. Do you have any special plans for episode 100?
I do. We have a plan. I can't announce it.
All right.
But we're recording it tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Technically, Kaiju Conversation's more of an Australian show because we record in Australian time.
Oh, okay.
So it's
funky. I support Australians on Talking Toku. I'm very forthcoming about the inspiration for Talking Toku, which is also an Australian podcast, The Weekly Planet, if you're familiar with them.
I am. I'm very
a fellow wackadoo.
I am aware of The Weekly Planet where they talk we talk movies. Is it where we talk
movies, comics, TV shows, and I don't remember the whole.
I don't remember.
Some fans we are.
God, it's been a long time since I've listened to The Weekly Planet, but I used to back in my YouTube days and whatnot. I'd watch Mr. Sunday and I'd listen to the show.
They were the ones who got me into listening to podcasts in the first place. Like they were the first podcast I ever listened to. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Huh.
And I very much base the structure of Talking Toku off of that show. So like, the purposely terrible acronym, what new cool kaiju thing are you checking out right now? That's just their what we reading, what we gonna read segment. That's my version of that segment.
That's fair. See, we kind of do something. It just kind of started happening for us where like at the opening of our episodes, it's like, so what tokusatsu have you? It's like a book club, like what book did you read this week?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My answer is usually I'm too busy to watch anything, so I haven't watched anything.
That's usually Brian's answer, my co-host for Talking Toku. He's usually too busy to watch anything. But that's okay. I try to make up for it by consuming more media than him.
So real quick, I'm gonna jump in here. We have Night Ravens. Is that the David?
It is.
That's
the David.
Such a good man. I agree. David, did you wear a hat during G-Fest?
I wore a hat all G-Fest long. The only time I did not wear a hat was, I think, obviously when I'm sleeping. Shortly when I went downstairs Sunday or Monday morning to say goodbye to some people, I didn't wear a hat then. But that was the only time.
I don't remember you wearing a hat or not wearing a hat.
Ooh, it's just such an intrinsic part of my character design that it's
purple signature hat.
Purple signature hat, yes. I do have 2 hats, but I only brought the one to G-Fest.
See, for me, I think my whole thing is I have to have messy hair. That's kind of my signature. Like that's a bingo card for Kaiju Kim. For her, it's like, does Elijah have messy hair? If so, boom.
There we go. Perfect.
So it was a college project.
Yes,
That's funny.
it was. It was a
And did you just run with that?
I mean, all right. So the conception of Talking Toku has a bit of lore behind it. So when I was still in college, I was part of the campus radio station. I actually have the shirt on right now. WXPL, Fitchburg State Radio, 91.3. I was a big part of them, and I don't remember why I had the idea to, but we had a time slot open on Saturdays, and I asked Brian, like, hey, Brian, do you want to come to Fitchburg and talk about Godzilla for 2 hours straight live on the air? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. We did one episode because it's like a 2-hour commute for him there and back, and it was just so much of a hassle. So we did the one episode, never did it again. Then when I went on to my internship, I had the assignment to pitch a podcast, and I was like, okay, let's try this again. And it's stuck. We have our fans. It's a small fan base, but they're passionate, I feel.
So you started in radio, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, technically I did start in radio.
Oh, that's cool. So for Kaiju Conversation, now I didn't create the show. I'm just the one that eventually took over. My whole reason for doing it was because there was a local radio show that I loved. I wanted to do that. So when I got the offer to do the show, I was like, absolutely. And then, I just kind of stuck around whether people liked it or not. And I'm still sticking around whether people like it or not.
You're going to get Kaiju Conversation, and you don't have a choice in the matter.
Pretty much. No, I think that's the mentality my co-host and I have. Rex is now just like, we're gonna do this. It doesn't matter. Like, now the analytics say that it's worth doing, but we're just like, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna do this.
Yeah. I mean, I very rarely look at the analytics for Talking Toku. I think the only time I look at the analytics for Talking Toku is when I'm logging into Spotify for podcasters, which is what I use to upload everything. And it shows right when you log in, oh, this is how many plays you had on the last episode. Oh, this is your audience size for the last week. And it's like, that's the only time. And I only see it because it's right there when you log in. I don't go out of my way to see it. And honestly, I don't care all that much about analytics. It's like, yeah, I know I would like more people to listen to the show, but like at the end of the day, this is a hobby. Like, I'm not doing it for any other reason, just to have fun and get all the thoughts that are in my head swirling, that are screaming at me, talk about Godzilla, talk about Godzilla, talk about Godzilla. It's just a way for me to get those out there in the world, so it's not loud in my head. That makes me sound a lot crazier than I actually am. Oh well.
It's okay. We're all crazy.
I agree. We have podcasts about Godzilla. Of course, we're crazy.
Exactly. Now, there's a few things I want to touch upon there. Now, the first one, I don't think you and I have ever sat down and been like, "Hey, what's up? What's your favorite Godzilla movie?"
Is this your question? You're asking what my favorite Godzilla movie is?
No, but
okay.
Hey, David, what's up?
What's up, Elijah? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What's your favorite Godzilla? All the time. What's your favorite Godzilla movie?
My favorite Godzilla movie is, without a doubt, and I'm kind of upset about it, and I'll get into why. It's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, 1974. Here I have the little Super 7 reaction Mechagodzilla glow in the dark right there on my desk. The reason I'm upset about it is because it played at G-Fest at the Pickwick, and I missed it. I was heartbroken.
I was there for you.
Thank you. At least someone was out there rooting for me. But I would have loved to see it at the Pickwick. I've never seen it in theaters, and that was my one chance, and I squandered it.
There will be another time.
Hopefully.
We'll make it
hopefully.
happen.
I am seeing Terror of Mechagodzilla at a local theater here in Boston next Tuesday, so that'll make up for it, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. Okay. That's a good answer. I like that answer.
what is your favorite Godzilla movie, Elijah?
Well, it's funny you ask that.
Is it also Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla?
Very close. It's Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. We're 2 peas in the pod, you and I.
I like this. You know, you're going to see my favorite movie in theaters next Tuesday, right?
Correct.
Sweet.
I'll be sure to take pictures to make you jealous. Be like, look where I am, Elijah, and where you're not.
Do it. Record your reaction for the movie and send it to me. All of it.
Terror of Mechagodzilla doesn't have a song in the movie, right? That's one of the
No,
few.
that's
Damn.
the only 70s Godzilla movie that does not have a song in it.
So I can't record a clip of me singing along and send it to you, like we did at Godzilla Final Wars at this past G-Fest.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you bring that up, and this is something I talked about in my Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla panel at G-Fest this year.
I was there.
You know, had I known that was your favorite movie, I would have had you stand in for Michael Hamilton, who didn't show up.
Well, I was way in the back. I came in a little, not late, like the panel hadn't started, but I came in like right as it was starting, so I had to like squeeze into the very back and like stand against the wall. I could barely see anyone.
Well, see, had you known me before a month ago, you could have possibly been the one.
I could have, and I've done panel singular before. I did one at All Monsters Attack in 2023 with Jacob, and it was pretty fun. I would like to do a panel again in the future.
Well, maybe next G-Fest. If they let me do another panel.
I think they will. You were on a lot of panels that weekend.
I lost track. I did 4.
Yeah.
My friend Danny did 7.
Oh my goodness. He's with Godzilla Novelization Project, right?
Yes, sir.
I think I sat next to him at Godzilla Final Wars. We talked a little bit. Had no idea he was the guy behind Novelization Project at the time. It wasn't until like after the weekend ended, I'm like, oh, that's that guy. I had no idea. All right, that's cool.
So Mechagodzilla. So what was your first one? Out of curiosity, was it Mechagodzilla?
It was not Mechagodzilla. My first Godzilla movie was Godzilla 2000. And I remember it very clearly, clear as day. It's actually one of the earliest like crystal clear memories I have in my mind, because I was like 3 years old at the time, 3 or 4 years old. I don't remember exactly when G2K came out on VHS, but so my dad at the time he would work late. He would work nights, and I'd occasionally stay up late to like say goodnight to him. And one night he came home from work and he had a copy of the VHS of Godzilla 2000. And me being the young boy, the young lad that I was obsessed with dinosaurs, as so many of us were at the time. And of course, you know, you've seen the US poster for Godzilla 2000. You know how incredible that poster is. So I take one look at this thing and I'm like, what is this? I need to know what this is right now. So we watched it, and that was it, man. I was hooked. And I remember, this is the part that's like super crystal clear. I remember the next morning after we watched it, rather than going to wake up my parents and say good morning to them, I instead went back into the living room, hit rewind on the VCR, and I remember sitting right in front of the TV as close as I could and like craning my neck up and just watching enraptured once again. And it was all downhill from there.
The wallet died.
Mm-hmm.
The hope of ever like having a normal life died.
Yep. Nope. It's all gone out the window.
So I guess, you know, with Godzilla 2000 and the development, you know, So you've done a panel, you've done podcasting. What are you going to do for episode 100, Jacob asks?
That's a very good question. Brian and I have not given that any thought whatsoever. I mean, we're only at 75. We still got 25 episodes to go. We got some time before we figure that out.
How regular do you upload?
So we try to do once every other week. Occasionally, one of us, usually me, will be too busy to do that, so we'll take a week off, and then we'll come back the week after that. But our normal schedule is every other week.
Gotcha. See, we're busy, so our statement is we promise one episode a month.
Okay.
And then we end up publishing weekly for a quarter of the month or the quarter of the year. So we'll do weekly uploads for about 2.5 months out of the entire year. So, and then we're bi-weekly. So then we just do 2 episodes a month, and it's obnoxious. Okay. Yeah, we end up uploading a lot more than we should. I promise.
You're doing better than us on that account.
We're crazy, that's why. What's your favorite chicken sandwich? That's another good
my
question.
favorite chicken sandwich. Well, I can't say because I've only had. Are we talking full chicken sandwich or just judging off a bite? That's a very important distinction.
Let's do a whole chicken sandwich.
All right, well, a whole chicken sandwich, that's going to disappoint Mr. Knight Ravens here because I've only had a bite of the best chicken sandwich of all time. My favorite chicken sandwich, and this place has been kind of blowing up recently, and this has nothing to do with the fact that its name is Dave's Hot Chicken. Me and my friends, we have a weekly movie night, and that place opened up near his house, and we got there, and then we were all like, oh, this is delicious. But Mr. Knight Ravens is referring to the chicken sandwich over at Kuma's Corner, which we went to at G-Fest. It's a heavy metal themed burger bar, and he ordered Death Clock. Play on Death Clock, but it's a chicken sandwich. And it was the best chicken sandwich that any of us have ever tasted. And that was going off one single bite. One bite.
I'm more of just an original chicken sandwich from Wendy's kind of guy myself.
Wendy's? Oh my goodness. Get this guy out of here.
Donnie Winters in the chat.
Hello, Donnie Winter. We were just talking about you.
We were. So, okay. So, out of curiosity, you mentioned you've done a panel at AMA. Is there anything else that you have done? Outside of podcasting, paneling, Kaiju United?
Like public platform, you mean? Or
maybe not. Maybe you have a little hobby you do outside of that. I'm getting to know the David.
You're getting to know me. Oh God, I've never just that's such a broad question. I've never had to think about this before. I like to read. I read a lot. I listen to music all the time. I have a running playlist of various new music releases. Actually, I'm going to shout out one right now because these guys kind of blew me away, and Jacob will know who I'm talking about. Slug Gore. They are a death metal band. They sing about giant slugs a lot of the time, and their newest album, which I gotta double check what the name of it is. It's They Slime, They Ooze, They Kill. The album cover has Biolante, Pigmon, Gankyu, Minila, and Jappa from Ultraman on the album cover. And I saw the album cover, I'm like, I gotta listen to this, man. I gotta listen to it. And then it was like a ridiculously fun death metal album. And it's in the running for my top albums of the year now. So if anyone from Slug Gore is listening, good on you.
So what kind of genre? So I love music. I listen to a lot of music. I'm usually in the top 10% of Spotify listeners for the year. This year, maybe not so much. But so are you a death metal kind of guy?
I'm definitely a metal guy of all subgenres. I did in the last like year or so kind of realize like how much I actually really liked death metal, which is really funny because like when I was in high school, I've been listening to metal for years now. Like probably like middle school is when I started getting into metal. But if you ask me like way back then in high school, it's like, oh, do you like death metal? You like black metal? I would like, no, that stuff sucks. You can't understand the lyrics or anything. Ugh, disgusting. But now I'm like, death metal is probably the subgenre I listen to the most at this point. So it's kind of surprising how I've matured in my tastes.
Huh. Okay.
I will shout out a big reason of why I like finally got into death metal was seeing Oxygen Destroyer live in concert. That was my first ever like death metal show. So, and that kind of made it click in my head, like, oh, death metal is actually like really, really good. And so, yeah, shout out to Oxygen Destroyer as well.
I'm sure, obviously, everybody listens to Kaiju Conversation. All these people are listening. They're hearing you.
Good. I hope so. I would hope everyone who's listening already knows Oxygen Destroyer, but just in case.
We got Kaiju Junkie in the chat.
Hey, I know that guy too.
I know that guy. We got it's a Japanese name, I think. So the Shiroge
or Shirohige, maybe.
Shirohige. Tell us in the reply to us. Who did it right? Who did it right?
I took 2 semesters of Japanese in college. I think I got it right.
Really?
I have not retained any of that knowledge, but yes.
Okay? What do you don't remember anything?
Let me put it to you this way. The most I remember is how to count to 10, and that's not even because I took Japanese. That's because I took karate back when I was a kid.
Okay, we have Ich ni san yo go roku nana hachi. 9 is a rough one. I haven't studied 9 enough.
9 is Q, I think.
Maybe. And then, no, Ju is 10.
Ju is 10, yes.
Yeah.
9, I don't 100% remember.
Hachi, I know, but for some reason I keep saying Orochi in my head, even though it's like, no. I don't know. It's probably because Octa, O.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I know that, so
actually, speaking of the taking Japanese, want to hear something embarrassing about me taking Japanese? So at some point, so again, I took 2 semesters. I don't remember which semester this was, if it was like Japanese 1 or Japanese 2. We had an assignment to do a project, like a presentation, a PowerPoint on an aspect of Japanese culture. You can probably tell where this is going. So I assumed, and I thought I assumed correctly because like I saw the cast of characters that we had in this class. I just assumed like, oh, all these people are gonna do it about like anime and cringy weeb shit like that. I'll do mine on Godzilla. I'll be the odd man out. And I was the odd man out, but not for the reason I was thinking. Everyone did theirs on like legitimate aspects of culture in Japan, and I was the only one who did the cringy weeb shit. So that was a rude awakening of a sort.
Well, see, here's the thing. So maybe this is just my approach to it, how I would do it, but one of the things I kind of love about Godzilla is how it is a gateway to understanding Japanese culture. And you can really dive into, from Godzilla, you go to Gamera, from Gamera, you go to Ultraman, then you go to like Kaiju Ega, then you go to Kyodai Heroes, and then Henshin and Sentai and whatnot. And then from there, like you just go to Tokusatsu. And then from there, you can go, like, even at Godzilla's level, you can go to samurai films and Jedi Geki, Edo period films and whatnot. And then you can just kind of grow and grow and grow until you're watching. I mean, basically at this point, all I watch is Japanese content, and it started by watching Terror of Mechagodzilla. So,
Yeah.
it kind of goes everywhere. I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo. Like I'm diving too deep into Japanese culture.
I don't think there's such a thing as diving too deep into any particular culture. I mean, Japanese film is great. I mean, just last night, me and my friends, again, I mentioned that me and my friends do a weekly movie night. We watched a film called Tampopo. Have you heard of Tampopo?
Yes, I have.
I saw your face light up. I immediately knew, like, he's seen it. So yeah, we watched that, and I was blown away. I'm like, that was incredible. I adored that.
If I remember correctly, and I think I do, the director of that took Takashi Yamazaki under his wing in his early years, and that was one of his first films. Yep.
Interesting. Well, I didn't realize it until the credits rolled, but that was one of Ken Watanabe's first films as well.
Yes.
Like, I didn't realize that. I'm like, what? Was Ken Watanabe? And I saw Akira Kubo in the credits as well, but it was a different Akira Kubo who's been in all the Toho stuff. I got really excited, and then I was like, oh, okay, different Akira Kubo. Never mind.
Yeah, I believe Yamazaki worked on some of the compositing for the film, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
I'll have to look more into that then.
It's either he worked on it or they just cited the directors. That's a film he worked on because that's one of his more popular ones. Yeah. I my most recent film was a movie called Afterlife. It is a 1999 drama film recommended to me by Jeffrey Engels. He told me that it was he loves that director. Koeda-san is his name. And it's a movie about when people die. They go to this place and they have a week at this place before they move on. And when they go here, they have to pick one memory from their life, and they film it on one of the last days before the week is up, and then they watch it, and then they pass on, and they carry that memory with them for the rest of the afterlife. And that's all they have. And if you don't, then you get stuck in this limbo where you have to help other people pass on to the afterlife.
Well, don't mind me. I'm just going to go add this to my letterbox.
Very good. It's very good.
Who is
Criterion?
The director again?
Koeda-san is that's his last name, if I remember correctly. Koeda. Yeah.
There are too many films called Afterlife. Goodness.
It's after space.
Oh, after
life.
Space life. Okay.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. There we go. I found it.
Good movie.
We're good.
It's
in the watch list.
Have you seen Shoplifters?
I have not.
It's that same director. He also did a movie called Monster with Sakura Ando.
I heard that was really, really good. That was last year, right?
Yes. I think Sakura Ando won like Best Actress for that the same year that she got nommed for Best Supporting Actress. I think.
Yeah, I remember that was in that was like in the running for like Best Foreign Picture at the Oscars this past year. But yeah,
I really like that. I'm gonna watch Shoplifters next, and then probably Monster. And I also got Drive My Car. I want to watch that because I've
been wanting to watch Drive My Car ever since it first came out, and was saying all these good things about it. I haven't gotten around to it.
Did it win Best Foreign Picture? Did it? I know it was nommed at least.
I think it may have won. I don't know I didn't watch the Oscars that year, so I don't know for sure.
I watch the Oscars every year.
I try to watch them every year. That past year I didn't have a outlet to watch it, so
that's fair. No, every year I take the day off of work.
Really?
I'm like, I'm done. I'm not working this day. Like I have the Oscars. I'm going to sit and watch the Oscars and talk with people about it online.
You take the whole day off, even though it starts
the whole day off.
PM?
Yeah,
okay.
I take the whole day off. It's a holiday.
You gotta mentally prepare yourself.
Well, especially this last one I did.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
I woke up the whole block.
I think we probably all did. Everyone who was watching that in our circle probably did.
I know, because I recorded my reaction. It looks awful. I need to like not have it up. But like, I was so happy, and I posted my reaction, and it eventually got to the Japanese side of the fandom. And some people were like, I'm so happy people are jumping for joy in the United States like we are. And then one person was like, I could never be this person's friend.
Damn, all right. That's cold.
It's like I get it. I'm a weeb.
No joy in that person's life. That's what I
Even
think.
though I don't watch anime. I don't know. I don't think I count as a weeb.
That's true. I don't know. It's what? How do we define a weeb?
From what I've been told, was so there's like, it's like somebody who's infatuated with Japanese culture, I think, is the like definition.
The official definition.
Yeah, I think. So maybe because at this point, like, I eat, breathe, sleep Japanese cinema and everything linked to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning Japanese. That's one thing I've been doing for about 293 days, I think, is my streak. So I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right. More than
I was
I'm
trying.
doing, that's for sure.
I was trying to think, because to say it would be like Nihongo wa omimasu ka desu ka? Or omimasu, which would be do you, I think that would be, do you do Japanese? I don't know. Do you speak Japanese? I think there's a way to say speak. I don't know that, but that would be kind of how it would go, and then you would probably say Nihongo wa janai desu. I don't do Japanese. It's probably actually I don't speak Japanese, but I don't know.
Again, you probably know more than me because I retain none of that knowledge I learned, 5 years ago now. So.
My hope is I'd like to eventually find a tutor and actually like start going a little bit faster, like just instead of like banking on Duolingo, like actually getting a teacher to like teach me Japanese. That would,
because I've heard Duolingo in general, like it's good to like learn the language, but you don't. It's hard to like learn how to converse in that language through Duolingo. Is what I've heard.
I have a couple Japanese friends. I've kind of contemplated seeing if somebody would help me. But I don't. I haven't yet, because it's like, how do you even approach them and be like, "Hi, we're friends and all. Can you help me learn your language?" Like, that sounds wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a relatively, maybe not normal ask, but I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's not. I don't think it'd be as weird as you think it would be.
Maybe
is
maybe.
how I'll word it.
Maybe, but yeah, like I know like how to. I know how to like say my name is, or hello, my name is Elijah. Nice to meet you, I think it is, which is dozo yoroshiku, I think. But yeah, that's like, I know some formalities. I know I can read hiragana and katakana. Kanji's like a whole nother monster that I'm horrified to jump into.
Yeah, the reading and writing aspect of it is what really gave me trouble when I was taking the language in college. Like, I could not get it down, and that's probably a big part of the reason why I didn't really retain much of it, because I couldn't get the reading writing part down. But I don't know.
Did you? So you only did 2 years, right?
Mhm. Well, my school only offered 2 years. They only had the 2 years of it, so it was the 2 years, and they're like, okay, you're done. Have fun.
That was going to be my question, but that answers it. Okay.
Yeah, they had an option to go to Japan like through the school. I could not afford it, so I did not go.
That's fair. It's a
Too
very
busy buying
expensive
Godzilla stuff, you know.
trip. Yeah, it's like I could go to Japan. I just couldn't buy any Godzilla stuff for
Yeah,
a
which
year
is
and a
if you're
half.
going to Japan, you're gonna want to buy Godzilla stuff. So it's either you buy Godzilla stuff in the U.S. or you buy Godzilla stuff in Japan. It's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. It's like which one's better to do here?
Yeah.
And one's a little more in the now, like cost effective.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Talking Toku, that's the name of your show.
It is.
So like my definition of tokusatsu, which is is a little weird, because there's a couple varied definitions. I can't speak. So you have like the people that say any special effects film are tokusatsu, right? Technically, that's the Japanese definition of it. You have the people that say tokusatsu is men in suits, like traditional style Godzilla and whatnot effects, which that's a varied definition of the U.S. translation. And then there's some people, myself included, that view it as tokusatsu that is Japanese films with special effects. Talking about like how anime, like you can't say, "Oh, I just went to watch the most recent anime, Inside Out 2." You know.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. That kind of threw me.
So that's kind of how I view tokusatsu. Is like it's talking about Japanese cinema.
Mm-hmm.
So on Talking Toku, what Toku are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing. We have a running bit. It's not even a bit, really. It's the identity of the show is that we have an exceptionally loose definition of tokusatsu. And you can look no further to find out than how much Jurassic content we cover on the show. Because like you look at Jurassic World, that's not really tokusatsu. That's not really but we cover it because we so really a more accurate definition of the show would be it's all monsters all the time. That's what we cover. We cover monster movies. I haven't asked Brian about this, but I was gonna see if he wanted to cover Alien Romulus because we joked early on the show like, would Alien be considered tokusatsu? It is a man in a suit, and with Romulus coming out soon, I'm like starting to get more and more interested in that movie. So I'm like,
Looks really good.
Maybe we could cover Romulus on that show. The name itself is just because I like alliteration, though. Alliteration is fun. It sounds funny. But it's at the end of the day, like while on the show, it's a pretty loose definition. Like I'm kind of in the same wheelhouse as you, where it's like it's Japanese special effects. That's what tokusatsu is to me. But on the show, I'm more open to different approaches.
When are you covering Twisters?
Well, Brian did just see Twisters. He saw it already. I haven't even seen the original Twister.
Double feature time.
I guess so. So
the new movie's not good.
It's not good. Oh well,
he said
he really liked it. He said he liked it, but it was stupid. It was like the stupid funny. That's why he liked it.
See, I don't like stupid funny.
Okay.
I'm a little pretentious. If you haven't gotten that yet, I'm just a smudge pretentious.
Okay, yeah.
You know, especially when you talk about the cats of the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla vs. Kong.
People
Yeah.
don't even know what we're talking about there.
Nick, who says my favorite anime is Toy Story.
See, mine is
Based-
Cat Dog, so
I don't know if I have a favorite anime. I'm not much of an animated person, to be honest. So I like
okay.
struggle to like find well, actually no, my favorite anime, and it actually is anime. The Transformers the movie.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, actually. I don't even know when the last time that was.
I love that movie. I love the Transformers. So and it was animated by Toei, so it does count as animation.
It's anime.
Or anime. Yeah.
Officially.
Jacob says his favorite anime is Seinfeld.
All right, Jacob, I want you to give me an explanation as to how that's because that's not even animated. We're branching out a little too far now. Do another episode with Jacob right after this. I want to hear his defense.
Nick says he understands that reference. I'm curious what.
All right, I guess we're out of the loop.
We're out of the loop.
We don't know what the hell they're talking about.
So okay, so we've talked a little Toku. We've talked a little bit of little Godzilla. What's what kind of? I guess what's your favorite movie, Mister David, Mr. David?
My favorite movie, period.
Yeah.
So I usually also say Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, but we already talked about that. So
I respect that.
That's a boring answer. Other than that, what would my favorite movie be?
See, I respect that because, like, if you were to ask me, Elijah, what's your favorite movie? I'd say Terror of Mechagodzilla in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Like, I'm 100% down with that movie. Like, that is like peak anything ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say that versus Mechagodzilla is because it's got everything, man. Good effects, great characters, a kicking score. I have that big Waxwork Showa era vinyl set that I think Mechagodzilla is the one I've played the most from that set, just because I love that score so much.
That was Sato's best.
Yes, I agree. Very much so. I do like his Ebra score as well, but versus Mechagodzilla it's peak, as the kids say.
So like I would put Mechagodzilla's his best score, followed by Yojimbo, followed by Ibra Horror of the Deep.
Oh, see, I haven't seen Yojimbo. I haven't seen a lot of Akira Kurosawa's work. I've only seen a small handful.
What have you seen?
I've seen Rashomon.
Classic.
I've seen Seven Samurai.
Classic.
And I've seen Throne of Blood. I think those are the three I've seen.
I love Throne of Blood.
Throne of Blood's so good, dude. Throne of Blood is so good.
That movie makes me wish that Akira Kurosawa did a Japanese horror film.
Oh my god, that would have been incredible.
That for him, and then like Matango for Ishiro Honda's. Like, why didn't these two not do a traditional Japanese horror?
Yeah,
it would have been beautiful.
If only. I've actually never seen Matango. I'm going to be watching it during my October Halloween viewing. I'm going to wait for it.
So for October, I do one horror movie a night. I try to.
Yep, so do I.
Sweet.
Yeah, so Matango is going to be part of that for this year. I think it's a long overdue viewing.
Mr. Lingle says my favorite films are The Seventh Seal, Phantom of the Paradise, and Seven Samurai. I like Seven.
You do like Seven, yeah. It's a lot of sevens in there.
Yeah.
How many Phantoms are in this Paradise? Is it just the one, or are there seven of them?
But his favorite Ultraman's Ultra 7.
Ultra 7?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Ultra 7 is really good. Have you watched Ultraman? Do you know a lot of Ultraman?
I do. I'm kind of in the minority though. I didn't really jive all that well with Ultra 7. I didn't really get it. I loved Ultra Q, loved Ultraman. Ultra 7 I was kind of iffy on, but I loved Return, I loved Ace, I loved Taro. Ultra 7 was like the only one I was like, eh.
did you say you liked Ultraman Taro?
Yeah, I like Ultraman Taro. You got an issue with that? You got an issue with that, Elijah?
Yo, we might have to stop talking.
All right, leave studio. Goodbye, everyone. No, Taro's great, man. It's so much fun.
Jacob says his favorite Ultra is Zero, which Zero is the son of Seven.
Oh, you thought, Jacob, you thought.
Nick says Blazar goes hard. So
Blazar does go really hard.
My Ultraman is I've seen Ultra Q to Ultraman 80. I've seen Ultraman The Adventure Begins, and I've seen Shin Ultraman. So that's my Ultra experience.
Okay.
What's your Ultra experience?
So I've seen, I just started Ultraman 80. So I've seen up through Ultraman 80. That includes the Ultraman, the anime.
Okay.
And then there's a huge gap. And then I've seen everything from Ultraman Z onwards.
So you've seen Z, Trigger, Decker, Blazar, Arc?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Actually, there should be a new episode of Ultraman Arc right now, today. Go watch it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. And I've seen Shin Ultraman as well. Oh, and I've seen there's a couple other new generation series. I've watched Orb and I've watched Geed.
Okay. So you're more Ultra experienced than I am.
I guess so, which is weird to think because like I like if you would like ask me just out of the blue, I'd be like, yeah, I know a little bit about Ultraman. Meanwhile, I've seen like most of the Showa era.
See, I've been stuck on 80 for like 4 years.
Oh wow! I like just started a couple weeks ago. I finished the first disc of that Mill Creek set.
I think last time I checked, I have like 15 episodes left. So it's like I literally have like a good day's binge, and I could be done.
Yeah, I see. I don't like to binge. Is the thing I do. I like to do one episode per session. Like if I'm watching a couple TV shows, I'll watch one episode of this, one episode of that, one episode of that, and then I'll be done for the day. Next day comes one episode. But with Ultraman, especially the Showa stuff, they're long series. They're like 50 episodes each, so it can take a long time to get through them. And especially with some of them, Ultraman Leo, I know that's another one people really like, but I didn't vibe with Leo all that well.
It was okay.
Started feeling a little samey for me, and it was kind of a slog to get through.
The last like 20 episodes is a real slog to get through.
Yeah, and there's stuff I like about Leo. Like it started off really strong, but just it kind of got a little samey. Same with the Ultraman, that started to feel a little samey. At least until like the final chunk of episodes, because it was like a 5-part finale. That stuff was like really good, but like the middle bit of the Ultraman was kind of felt a little sloggy.
Gotcha. Okay. So what I know you and I kind of talked about this before the recording. So what kaiju, like outside of Godzilla, outside of Ultraman, what other kaiju content do you watch?
I mean, Gamera, obviously that's the big one. I try to go for some indie stuff too, like Shinbei Hayashi's films. I've seen most of, I think. I haven't seen the most recent one, but that's not even widely available yet, so that's why. I've seen Attack of the Giant Teacher, which is a lot of fun. A lot of the SRS stuff, which is where I got into which you know a lot about, I'm sure, Elijah.
I might know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit. I have Monster Seafood Wars I've seen. That's a lot of fun too. I'm trying to think, what other indie
Did you know that the Jumbo Chef, that's an actual building?
I did know that. I don't know how I knew that, but like now that you're thinking about, like, yeah, no, I definitely knew that.
I didn't. I actually learned that a couple days ago.
Is it actually a robot? Do you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know about that.
You were so ready, like, yeah, it is.
God, I love Jumbo Chef. I need a figure of Jumbo Chef. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Please. I wish we could get more figures of indie kaiju in general. Like that would be really, really cool.
I agree. I would love to. There is a Safubi of it. There's one of Virus King from Yuzo, the biggest battle in Tokyo. I'd love to get my hands on one of those, but they were like a convention exclusive.
Oh, that's a shame. I gotta buy my SRS copy of that. That's the one I haven't ordered yet.
I hear that's a great release.
I've heard that too. Yeah, there's some cool guys on the bonus features and stuff.
Yeah. And then I hear another one's Liver Leaf. That's another good one. Actually, no, like joking aside, Liver Leaf is a really beautiful movie. Like it's not a monster movie. It's not really even a horror movie. It's a drama. It's a drama like slasher. It's actually really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm not familiar with Liver Leaf.
It is a 2018 movie. It was adapted by a manga by Rensuke Oshikiri, who hasn't he did the only thing you might know is High Score Girl, but that's more of a manga anime series, but that's his most popular work. He wrote the manga for Liver Leaf in 2007, I think. It's called Miso Miso, and it's about a girl who loses her family in a fire, and she goes after the people that killed her family. Kind of like a Lady Snowblood, if you've seen it.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it a lot when I watched it. I was actually genuinely surprised. I had to send a message to Ron and be like, "Hey, this is actually really good. How did you get this?" So that's another good one SRS just put out. That just came out like a month ago. So okay. So what are you are you a fan of that indie stuff?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I like to support the indie stuff, especially because like I think we need more. Because really, like aside from Tsuburaya, we're not really getting a whole lot of like big tokusatsu kaiju stuff. Like obviously you have your Kamen Rider, your Sentai, but that's not really kaiju. That's just tokusatsu. There's a difference. So really, the indie scene, aside from Tsuburaya doing the Ultraman stuff, like indie stuff is where it's at. It seems to be because we have Brush of the God coming out from Keizo Murase, which looks incredible. And I don't know when we're gonna get that here in the States, if we're gonna get that, but God, please, someone pick up the distribution for that because I need to see it.
That looks really good. I'm really excited for it.
I'm kind of holding out hope that SRS picks that up, but we'll see.
Oh, trust me too. Yeah, no, what's interesting is Brush of the God originally it was Kame o Fudo, if I remember correctly. I think that's the Japanese title. But then they changed it to from the kanji characters to the katakana characters. And then there was a subtitle added, which is like the Fantastic Island of Monsters.
Okay.
So the Japanese title is actually like Brush of the God, the Fantastic Island of Monsters, if I remember correctly. So like when they did that updated title, I was like, oh, this is really interesting now. Because there's like multiple monsters in it outside of Orochi. So I'm excited. And Virus King actually makes a cameo in the film.
Oh, does he? That's cool.
Yeah. Director Ishii, he actually worked on it. He was the assistant director, and he offered the Virus King suit for a couple scenes.
That's cool. I had no idea. Just gives me more reason to want to watch it.
It's a lot of fun. I haven't seen it yet. I've just heard some bits of production information, but it sounds really good. So outside of Brush of the God, what's next on your watch list?
Good question. I mean, I've had my copy of The Whale God sitting on my TV stand since that Blu-ray went out in the mail. It's just been sitting there, and I've been meaning to watch it ever since. I just have not gotten around to it. In terms of other kaiju stuff, I mean, I mentioned Matango. That's big. I don't know. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I'm like itching to watch in terms of kaiju Toku stuff. I do
Okay.
want to like get more into Kamen Rider because when Shin Kamen Rider came out last year, was that last year? It had to have been last year.
That was 2022. Yes, it was last year. Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Yeah, so when I saw Shin Kamen Rider, and that was like kind of my first experience with anything Kamen Rider, and I really, really liked it. And me and Brian started watching the original series together, and we watched like 5 episodes, really enjoyed it, and then never picked it back up again. I don't know why, because we really liked what we saw, but we just never it never materialized. So I'd like to get back into Kamen Rider at some point.
Okay. See, for me, Shin Kamen Rider, I love Shin Kamen Rider. Such a good movie.
Oh yeah.
It's my personal favorite Shin movie.
I agree. I think Shin Kamen is the strongest out of all of them.
I think we can be friends again after the Taro statement.
Okay, cool. Glad we settled that.
Because that's the only Kamen Rider stuff I've seen. Period. I own Kamen Rider V3, Kamen Rider Kuga, Kamen Rider Black, Black RX, 01, and Ryuki. But I don't have time to watch any.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a factoid about you. I'm trying to learn.
What does that mean? What do I mean a factoid about me?
I don't know. Do you drive on the left-hand side of the road?
I would hope not. I don't think I'd be here if I did. God, I don't know. That's another very broad question. What kind of factoid do you want to know about me?
Oh, okay. How did you get in? So we both work with Kaiju United. How did you get involved?
I have known Jacob for a long time. I don't know exactly how long. I think if he's still here, maybe he can expand on that. I think at least since I've known him since at least 2013, because that was my first G Fest, and that was the first time I met him in person. But I think we talked a little bit before that. And in G Fest 2019 is when we like really became good friends. And when he started Kaiju United, he approached me and saying, "Hey, I'm doing this website. Do you want me to feature Talking Toku on here?" And I'm like, absolutely. I would love to do that and to, kind of help out with the site, contribute stuff. I've contributed a couple things since the launch. I'm trying to remember what exactly I've contributed. I did a review of Mega 2 The Trench. And I did a editorial defending Junkie XL's score of Godzilla vs. Kong that I'm still very proud of to this day.
What? Give me the reason why I should read that, out of curiosity.
Give you the reason why you should read it, or
yeah, like if you were
why it's a good score.
Well, I don't want to. I want people, if they want to hear your take on it, I want them to read that.
Yeah.
But,
so a lot of other people, myself included, when Godzilla vs. Kong first came out, everyone was like, "What is this? This is dollar store Akira Ifukube, and it's just boring. Where's Bear McCreary?" And I was the same. I was like, "This is really kind of boring." The first KU interview we ever did. Oh yes, okay. I thought he interviewed me. I'm like, that's not how that went. We can talk about that afterwards. But yeah, I was in the same group. I was like, this isn't all that interesting. But one of the things so in terms of collecting kaiju stuff, I'm not all that serious about it. But one of the few things I am serious about in terms of collecting is vinyl records. I love collecting kaiju vinyl records. I think most of my record collection are kaiju soundtracks. And so Waxwork has been doing a really great job putting the MonsterVerse stuff out. And so I bought the Godzilla vs. Kong score on vinyl, and I was listening to it. And I was like, I think I was actually working on an article for Kaiju United at the time, oddly enough, when I was listening to it. And I just kind of like turn around and like, wait a second, this is actually kind of good. Hold on. And it just kind of clicked in my head, like I could tell exactly what Hulkenborg was going for in writing the score. And I just like I don't know if I don't remember how it got to me writing a whole article about it for the site, but I also did an episode of Talking Toku about the same topic, but the article was a lot better because I was able to, backspace, delete stupid thoughts, whereas the podcast, I kind of had to fly by the seat of my pants in that regard. But yeah, I think it's not, that score isn't given as much credit as it deserves because, yeah, it's not Bear McCreary. It's not really trying to be, though. I know there's the whole dollar store Fukube argument, which I still do kind of agree with. But one of the things I did like about GXK, one of the few things I liked about GXK, I think it sounded less like an Ifukube ripoff in GXK, and it sounded more like its own Godzilla theme. I don't know how to explain that. I haven't really given the GXK score a fair shake quite yet. I gotta do that, but I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I'm listening. I'm enjoying hearing somebody tell me something positive about the Midgard duology.
I was trying to figure out what is the Midgard. Oh, the Midgard. I understand.
I'm coining that term.
That's good. I like the term.
I called it like Midzilla versus Mong.
Mong. Okay.
The Mid Empire or something, like on my Letterboxd review. I was like,
well, our running joke of it on Talking Toku is the new monkey, because there's a new monkey with scar.
That's good.
So we very rarely ever call it the new empire on the show. It's always Godzilla X Kong with a new monkey.
Yeah, we on our show we've only, I feel like we've talked less about New Empire than we did GVK, because I cannot stand GVK, as you've been acquainted to.
Yeah. But
for GXK, honestly, both of us have been a little bit like, it's not as bad as the last one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think I like GVK a little more than GXK, because GVK I at least saw twice. I've still only seen GXK the once.
Huh.
Yeah. So to kind of give you an idea of how I felt about GXK, it's the only Godzilla movie that has come out since the boom back in 2014 that I have not gone out to see a second time in theaters.
Huh. Okay. I was just thinking, like, have I went back? And yes, I have. I think I saw it 3 times within 48 hours.
Within 48 hours, goodness.
Yeah,
I watched it. I didn't even do that much for the ones I did like.
I watched it at a Cinemark, and then I watched it at like in 3D, and then I watched it in like IMAX.
Mm.
And then like I recorded a podcast and was like, I'm done. I'm okay.
Well, that's probably the only reason I saw GVK a second time, because I wanted to like watch it one more time before I recorded the episode on it, because that was also one of our first episodes we did was GVK. We launched around that same time. I wanted to like get and like take some notes too a little bit to like know what I'm talking about when we recorded.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, the only reason I saw GXK 3 times was for the podcast I do with Rex, who is in the chat.
Whoa, hello. There he is.
There's a wild Rex. But yeah, I was thinking about it. I saw 2014 twice. Once regular theater, once 3D. How many times did you see it? 5?
I
Look,
think
man,
5.
you don't have to get at remotely embarrassed. You'll feel fine by the end of this spiel
Okay.
I'm going on.
Okay.
I saw King of the Monsters, I think only twice. I think I saw it in regular Screen X. I saw it in Screen X, and then I saw it in 3D as well, or IMAX, or Prime. It was Prime. Prime, maybe 3 times. Prime, IMAX, Screen X. That sounds right to me.
Okay.
How many times?
I saw it 5 times,
Okay.
and I think I was a little bit in denial because I kind of soured on that movie a lot. I've been very back and forth on King of the. I've been very back and forth on 2014 too, but more skewing towards the positive on that one. But King of the Monsters, I've been kind of back and forth. I think because I remember when I first saw it because I was with like a big group of fans in the area too. We went to the local IMAX theater, and I remember I came out of it like I enjoyed it, but I felt kind of off, and I didn't really know why until I saw it a couple more times. And I'm like, I don't actually know if I liked that all that much.
Okay. GVK, I saw 9.
9.
9.
You just had to see it that many times to know that you disliked it that much.
Actually, so the whole reason I went and I saw it was mostly just because they were like, theaters are dying, and I was like, I want to give some money to the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I think it was 9 times. It might have been 10. Actually, 10 sounds right.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
How many
I didn't
times
even
did you
see it in theaters. I saw it twice, and it was on HBO Max because it was still like kind of the end of COVID, and I wasn't super comfortable going to a theater just yet. So I watched it once with my family when it first came out, and then once with my girlfriend and two of our friends. Just because I was like visiting and I'm like, hey, do you guys want to watch this? It just came out. I want to do this before the podcast. And they're like, yeah, sure. So there's only the 2 times. And I saw it again, like once it hit home video. Like I got, because as much as I don't like them, I still got to own them all.
Right.
You know, I got that
Yes.
completionist mindset.
Okay.
So I've only seen GBK 3 times total.
So how many times have you seen -1?
It might be 7.
Okay.
I think it's 7 because I initially saw it 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Rex's comment concerns me. So I saw it 5 times, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't think I need to watch this anymore. It's kind of starting to lose its magic a little bit. I don't need to see this anymore. And then my friend, who at the time lived in Florida, and he would come back like once a year, or twice, sometimes once or twice a year, like for summer and then for the holidays. He's like, hey, David, I hear there's this new Godzilla movie that everyone's really liking. Do you want to go see it? I'm like, well, I can't say no. I guess I'll go see it. So that was 6, I believe. And then Minus Color came out, and then that was 7. So I think 7. I saw it 7 times in theaters.
So Rex saw it 9 times, and he thought it was pretty bad. So, so I had to beat my Godzilla versus Kong record. Like, I hate GVK. So I beat 10. And I wanted to see it in every format possible. So so there's a Cinemark, IMAX, and Cinemark, IMAX. I saw it in a Regal theater. So there's 3. Oh, and a local chain that actually has a lot of that has MX4D and ScreenX. So I had to see it in every format. I saw it in.
So hold on, before you continue, when you say format, you're naming just 2 different theater chains. What's the difference?
IMAX,
Yeah.
Prime, Dolby Surround.
What is Prime?
Prime is like an IMAX version is a AMC version of IMAX.
I have an AMC. I have no idea what that is, but okay, go on.
Yeah. Regular theater, like a regular standard theater, Screen X, 4DX, D box, which is some sort of Cinemark thing. Is that the formats I saw it in? Yes. Oh, and no, yep. So I saw it in 7 formats. I saw it in 3 states with 9 theaters. So the final amount that I saw, Gojira minus the 1.
Do you want me to do a drum roll for you?
Everybody knows this. I'm
I
surprised
don't
you
know
don't
this.
know. I'm surprised you don't know. So, do you know how many Godzilla movies there are made in Japan right now?
I had to do the math. I know there's 38 total, but that's with the American ones
And the anime ones.
and the anime ones. Yes.
So minus the anime ones, 3. So there's 35 minus 98, which is 34.
So
Minus
30.
30 Japanese Godzilla movies. And for each one of those Godzilla movies, I saw minus 1.
You saw minus 1 30 times.
30 times.
30 times, Elijah.
30 times over the course of like a month and a half.
I was expecting it to be like 15, literally half of that. But okay, 30 times.
30
sure.
times.
It didn't get old for you at all?
I cried on my 30th viewing.
You're 30. Okay. All right, cool.
I saw the color version 21 times and I saw minus color 9 times.
I would have liked to see minus color one more time. And that is because I think there was something wrong with the projector when I saw it. Because there was like, so it looked black and white for the most part, but in the middle of the screen, so I'll try to visualize it here on my screen, like a circle kind of like this big, it looked like blue. Like just like a kind of dark, like periwinkle blue. And I've compared it to Violet Beauregard in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You know, Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. That kind of thing. It looked very weird. And that kind of annoyed me. So I would like to see minus color one more time in theaters. But hey, it's hitting Netflix next week. So I'll be able to see it as it was intended to be next week.
Okay. So yeah, I indulged in minus 1.
I have a question. Did you tally up how much you spent on minus 1? That's what I'm curious about.
I want to say it was about $500.
$500
$500
on a single movie.
On a single movie, not including the Blu-ray I bought, or the Super 7 minus color figure I bought.
And do you have any regrets? All right, good. That's the important. Good.
At this point, there's like one person who saw it more than me, and so I'm content with knowing that I'm probably one of like.
How many times did they see it? Do you know?
37, I think 37 or 38. So I saw it that many. So one thing that I'm very proud of. I saw Godzilla minus 1 the first day it was available publicly in the States, and I saw it the last day it was publicly available.
That's cool.
So I was there from its beginning to its very end. And, in a way that's, I think, very poetic and important to me because, especially in retrospective, minus 1 is such an important film to, I've said it on that panel, to history, that in 20 years from now when people are talking about Godzilla -1. Remember Godzilla -1? Oh god, that was the second Reiwa Godzilla film. That was so good. Like that was like 54 2.0, and now we're in the Shinjuku period. I don't know. You know, the Goroku period or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about how they wish that -1 existed now or something. And when I'm old and decrepit to them, they're like, did you see -1? I said yes. And when they ask when, I said, well, I saw it 30 times in theaters. They're gonna look at me like I'm psycho, but then they're gonna be like, bro, that's so cool. So that's just a cool little thing that I think as time continues, I'll be able to kind of continue to wear a crown over that achievement. It was a personal achievement, but achievement nonetheless.
Of course. I think you're right, though. I think, I mean, it's, I'm not surprised, like, given the reaction to that film, like, I think that is going to be the one that people are going to be talking about for years to come. I mean, we're still talking about Shin Godzilla to this day. And we're still talking about Godzilla 2014. Not as much, as the wider fandom kind of likes King of the Monsters more than 2014. But I will hold the torch for 2014 until my dying breath. But yeah, no, we're still talking about those movies. And Shin Godzilla is also divisive to a certain extent, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing when we have divisive films, because that means we're going to keep talking about them until everyone's dying breath. We're going to be on our deathbeds arguing about Godzilla. I'm going to request, whenever I die, I'm going to request that someone play Requiem from Godzilla vs. Destroya as the life drains from my eyes. That'll be what everyone hears. That'll be what I hear.
Well, it's funny. So, like, one of my hopes is that, like, in theory, let's say the way I die is like I'm laying in a hospital bed, right? And that's where I go. It's like, okay, if that's the case and I know I'm done for, I want somebody to put on Terror of Mechagodzilla, and I want to be watching that. And like the last thing that I see in my life is like that movie. Like that to me sounds
the last thing you see in your life are the fake plastic breasts on Katsura.
Yeah. That's kind of my hope, that just being able to be there with that film.
Yeah.
That's because, and you can probably understand where I'm going with this. So like, if it wasn't for that movie, my life would not be what it is.
Yeah, same, 100%. If I hadn't seen Godzilla 2000 when I did, like, my life would be, I don't even want to know what my life would be like. It would be so different and alien from what my life currently is. I probably wouldn't recognize the person I am.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, when you think about, okay, so if you didn't see that movie, whatever that movie may be, right? So in my circumstance, if I didn't see Terror, I wouldn't have seen the rest. I wouldn't have been interested in movies as much as I was. I wouldn't have been interested in Japanese culture as much. I wouldn't have went down the rabbit holes. I wouldn't have gone into the fields that I've gone into. And I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Like, it's so weird to think that, like, I would be normal,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, Brian is my best friend, and we became friends because of Godzilla. But Jacob was also one of my best friends, and I very obviously would not have met him if not for Godzilla. So yeah, no, that's kind of one of my favorite things about being in this fandom, is that it's a great way to meet people and befriend people and form those kind of lifelong bonds between people. So it's really nice. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I would be hanging out with if not for this big lizard.
See, for me especially, like, with you and Jacob, it's like me, like one of my best friends, Rex, like, so he lives in Australia. We work off of Australian time, he lives in Australia. It's a Kaiju Conversation is an international joint co-production. We would like there's absolutely no way we would know of each other without Godzilla. So like that's wild to me. So as I am slandering Rex live,
there was no slander. There was no slander whatsoever. What are you talking about?
That like I wouldn't have that. That's important to me. I mean, the whole podcast is like, and I'm sure you kind of understand this too. The podcast has got me to learn so much in the years I've done it that like I don't even know what I don't want to know what I would be without this show, So this stuff is kind of important, especially as time goes on. I think of other podcasts like Kaiju Cast. Kyle did Kaiju Cast for 10 years. That was huge.
Yeah.
Like what is that like? Like who knows what will be in 5 years when I've been podcasting for 10? That
will we
freaks me
even
out.
be here still doing these podcasts? Who knows?
Yeah, no, that's been a big question. Is like, okay, and I'm sure you also get this. You don't have a plan for like next year, probably.
No, we fly by the seat of our pants. I have a note on my phone of various ideas for episodes that I add to occasionally, but there's no concrete plan or anything.
Yeah, so like for Casey, we have a schedule. We try to plan out a year, so we have an idea of what movie we're going to watch and research. So like we have a plan for 2025. And we've started 26, I think. But it's like we're not like going to touch that until next year now. We've opened it up, but we have no plan. And what's to say that, in a month from now I'm done podcasting, Like that could happen. And that's something that if that does happen, which it probably won't, but like that could end everything, So it's weird to think like 10th anniversary of the show, right? That is really weird. That concept just is so alien to me. It doesn't feel right.
Also, like, assuming we're still doing the shows, like, what will that show look like in 10 years? How will it evolve over that time? Like our show it's evolved a little bit. Like Brian always talks about, there's a very clear cut from when we were just kind of going for it and versus when we were starting to organize things in a Google Doc to kind of keep us on track. And I don't really remember how disorganized it was back then, but he seems to think it's like, oh, it was terrible. Don't listen to those episodes. I'll take his word for it. So I don't know, but we have evolved a little bit, and that's only over 3 years. Who knows what it'll be like in another 7.
See, we did the same thing. We actually went back and like marked like episodes because we used to record on Discord. And then as I got older, I realized, wait a minute, Discord's like the worst place to record a podcast. So then we moved over to Zencaster and StreamYard occasionally. So there's an obvious change. And it was actually due to like the recording bots we used, like were no longer available. Like they decided making them, so we had to compromise. And so we moved to Zencaster. And like we've just never went back, and it's a very obvious change. And that change was so drastic and so good for us, among other things that we've done as time has went on, that like the first 20 episodes of Kaiju Conversation we've marked as like old in brackets, because it's like I don't want people going watching those.
Those were the dark times.
Yeah, it's like they're old, they're bad. Like I sound awful. I don't have a microphone for most of it. It's like the first recording I did sitting on my bedroom floor talking through like a headphone.
Oh god.
Microphone. Yeah, it was
Kinda
like
what I'm doing.
and now it's like, okay, I got a microphone that's actually set up. I've got headphones. I've got this webcam. I've got a light ring. I've got like an actual setting. It's like I hate the idea of ever going back, and I couldn't listen to them. I don't think I could.
No, I was when I was editing our most recent episode, it was a G-Fest recap episode, and we had a ton of people on. We had Jacob, we had Adam Griffin from Thirsty Thursday Toys, we had Quasies, we had Donnie Winter on. But so I record at the public access station where I did my internship, where Talking Toku became a thing, and they have like a podcasting station. They have like a really nice little soundboard that you can adjust the sound levels on. They have really nice microphones, but my schedule after G-Fest was so all over the place that I'm like, I can't get in to record there before they close for the night. So we recorded on StreamYard here for the first time, and I was using this thing, and I'm editing it the other day. I'm like, wow, I sound like shit with this mic. Thank God I usually record it down at the station, because this would be terrible if I was still using this. So thankfully it was just a one and done. I'm sorry. Next episode, my voice will be nice and crisp and clean and buttery smooth again.
See, I like this microphone is adequate, but my hope is next year I invest in a new microphone that's a little better. This one's not bad, I don't think, but I would love to upgrade to an even better one, an actual like professional grade condenser mic.
Yeah.
So before we'll wrap up here in a second. So I need to know. So do you have did you go to school for sound?
No, I went to Did you go to school for film? Because I went to school for film.
So I never went to an actual film school or anything.
Oh, okay.
I did a post high school program that was film based. That was below. It was one notch below a trade school.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I did that for 2 years, and it was multimedia.
Gotcha. But no, I went to school for film. That's what Fitchburg State was known for. They have a really good film program. So that's what I went to school for.
So
I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere, but
So what's that like? So I've done some short films. What kind of stuff have you done?
Not a lot since I graduated. I will occasionally do some freelance stuff in the summers. I do some camera work for concert venues, outdoor concert venues. I'll if you go to a big outdoor concert venue, like an arena kind of deal, they for the nosebleed seats, they have the big screens up at the side so people way out back can see. I will do that. I'll be on the camera for those for the live feed there. That's kind of all I've done since I graduated, honestly. I don't. I wish I'd be doing more, but I have very little drive, unfortunately.
I mean, that's still cool. That's more on a professional level than I've done. So I think that's really cool.
It's fun. Like I've seen bands that I love and listen to all the time live, not just for free, but getting paid to do it. Like I got paid to see Alice Cooper. I got paid to see Korn. I got paid to see Megadeth. So that was all very fun.
That's okay. That's really cool. What kind of gave you the love of film to kind of make that your educational path?
Godzilla. it was Godzilla. That's I don't know what I would be doing if I hadn't seen Godzilla 2000, because that initially, when back in elementary school, when you get asked like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be Haruo Nakajima. I wanted to be a suit actor. But I quickly realized, like, they don't, unless you're like Guillermo del Toro, they don't really do that here in the States anymore.
It also sucks.
That's
It's
what I've heard.
awful.
That's
It is
what I've
the
heard.
worst. Like, I thought I was going to die, but there's a whole nother thing I've done about going over my experience as a suit actor. It sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just kind of went to the more technical side of things.
Okay. It's cool. I feel like we have more in common than I realized.
You learn something new every day. You said you wanted to get to know me, Elijah. You're getting your wish.
I am, and I'm happy with this. So I feel like that's a good point to end on. I feel like I like you more now.
That's good. I'm glad you like me. That's I'll call that a win.
So I appreciate you coming on here. It was a little like last minute. I was trying to figure out who can I get on for the July episode of Kaiju Conversation Live, and I was like, wait a minute, gotta get David on. Like I gotta have him on. I gotta know him a little bit better, and hopefully with recent developments, I get to know you a little bit more.
I know.
I think
that hasn't been announced yet.
I think it's really exciting to be able to have the opportunity. Sorry, my hair is driving me nuts. To get to know you, and I'm excited to see where we go in our mischievous adventures.
What kind of mischief are we getting up to? That sounds a little concerning.
So before we wrap things up here, David, do you want to do some of the most noblest of podcasting traditions and link yourself?
I would love to. I love hawking my wares, Elijah. Well, Talking Toku, we're platform-wise, I think we're really only on Spotify. We're actually also on SoundCloud at MMTV, and also on their YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is a little behind because I'm not the one who edits the videos together. That's my good pal Howard, who I host a totally different show with, Doritos Connections and Mountain Dew. It's a video game talk show. You can check that out as well. Also at MMTV. But Talking Toku is mostly just on Spotify and SoundCloud and YouTube. I think that's it. My Spotify for Podcasters says we're on 2 other platforms, but I don't remember which ones they are. But as for social media stuff, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that I haven't touched. I actually have a bunch of the video files of the show right here on this hard drive that have just been sitting here for months that I have not touched, that I really need to. They're right here. I have maybe first 50 episodes on here that they haven't made their way online, at least onto the Talking Toku YouTube channel. They're on MMTV, but not this channel. Yeah, go check us out on all those various social media platforms. I'm most active on Twitter because I feel like I can just say whatever the hell dumb shit is on my mind and not get flack for it.
Okay. Well,
it's all at Talking Toku, by the way.
Okay.
Don't you dare, Jacob.
So, with that, I think we can wrap things up here. Unless you got anything else for me, David? Any more curveballs?
Well, Elijah, I'll leave this, and I'll toss the ball over to your side of the court. You've had me on Kaiju Conversation. You are welcome anytime on Talking Toku. If there's something you want to cover, any topic, any movie, let me know. And I will say, we will undoubtedly be doing a 50th anniversary episode for Terror of Mechagodzilla next year. So you're more than welcome to come on for that.
Well, allow me to throw this back to you.
Oh no. We're just playing catch now?
I am one who never says no to coming on to a show. So, but my requirement is I don't pick.
Okay.
I like the challenge. I've done I did a podcast show on a friend's podcast once about a movie called oh god, what was it? It was Altitude. It's like a 2007 straight to video monster movie.
Okay.
That I had never seen before, and I watched the day of and like did some research on it. And I've done shows talking about, kaiju and tokusatsu, but like I've watched a werewolf movie for a article I wrote. Like I was asked if I would be so kind to do this article for Kaiju United about a movie called Bite, and I was like, absolutely, I'll do it.
I remember that review. I remember you were not kind to that movie.
I was like, oh boy, how do I do this? I love a good challenge, and I love being thrown curveballs. So you find whatever you want, and I'll say yes.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind, but I'll keep you in the back of my mind for Terror of Mechagodzilla next year for sure. But if there's anything else that comes up that I think, I think my good pal Elijah would be good for this, I will let you know.
Awesome. And hopefully in the future I can have you come on. We don't usually do guests on the show just because of how it's laid out. The Kaiju Conversation Live is how I make up for that. So hopefully we can get you on again soon. Danny DeMana has, I think, the record for like showing up like 3 times on the show so far.
I can be that easy.
Out of 16 episodes, so he's been on that's like an 8th? No. Wait, yeah, that's an 8th. I think that's an 8th. He's been on an 8th of the show. And
Sounds
so
right.
Jacob says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie 1995 anniversary talking Toku.
Is that 95? Is that the next year? 20th anniversary? 30th anniversary?
30th. Yeah. Because Power Rangers just had its 35th anniversary last year.
We've never covered Power Rangers on Talking Toku before.
I've never seen a single season of Power Rangers or episode.
I've seen bits and like a couple episodes here and there, but I don't think I've watched the whole season.
I've seen the 2017 movie. That's my experience.
I don't think it's as bad as most people say.
I liked it.
It's not great. I'm not going to say it's good, but it's not terrible.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. But with that, I think we'll wrap things up here. So before we go, I'll just say hello. My name is Elijah Thomas. I have a kaiju and tokusatsu problem. I am one of the rotating hosts of Monsters with Attitude, a monthly show covering the kaiju entertainment sphere. Outside of that, I'm a writer. I've written for GodzillaMovies.com, Kaiju Ramen Magazine, and currently I write for Kaiju United. It's a great website, www.kaijuunited.com. Go check that out if you want to. My writing's also been featured in the book Giant Bug Cinema, Monster Kid's Guide from Bear Manor Media, where I wrote about Ghidorah, the Threaded Monster, another good movie. Outside of writing and podcasting, I've also worked with Titanic Creations on their upcoming figure of Youngity, and hopefully maybe more down the road. We'll see. I've also had the privilege to work with SRS Cinema on producing bonus features for their Blu-ray releases of Yuzo, The Biggest Battle in Tokyo, and Liverleaf. You can buy those on srscinema.com. I also have a YouTube channel and an Instagram and a X account, ET13 Productions on YouTube.
You call it Twitter. It's okay.
I usually call X the artist formerly known as Twitter. Thanks, Danny. ET13 _productions for those accounts. I also appeared in the movie Zillafoot, if you want to check that out. It's got a rating of 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, so you know it's got to be peak cinema. So with that, I think we're done here. Thank you all for tuning in to chat with us. Thank you all for listening if you're on the live version. Thank you for watching if you're doing the VOD version. And thank you all for interacting, hitting the like button, subscribing, and ringing the bell. And is that David from Talking Toku? Yes,
Wow,
it is.
that
David.
Brian tuning in at the very, very end? That tracks. That tracks.
And thank you, David. Why any? I don't know what any platform is
See,
called.
Rex understands.
Rex knows. So, quick shout out to Brian for hopping in here last minute as we wrap things up here. Your co-host is a Chad.
Brian, I invited Elijah on Talking Toku. Hope that's okay with you.
So we'll find out if it's okay, and then we'll do the sign off, and then we'll be good. So,
yeah. So now we just gotta wait for Brian to respond. Because if he doesn't respond, we just gotta keep going.
He said, "Let's go, dude."
All right, cool. We did it.
We did it. Okay. So with that, we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, David, for coming on, giving me an hour and 46 minutes, 47 by the time this is done, of your time. It's been a lot of fun. And we have a lot in common. So that's great to see. So
we're going to be best friends now.
Yeah,
Sorry, Brian. Elijah's replacing you.
Oh, that's funny. Anyways, with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, David, again. And there's only one thing left to say, and that is for everybody to please remember, life's too short to not talk big. Bye, guys.
So long.